teaching our young players how to communicate with one another is
It's
absolutely
the correction and the tone at which you approach the person.
let them figure things out and then have a discussion about it. Because they
You have to learn to correct before. Now, how are you going to handle this situation? All right, welcome. Coaching youth hoops.
coach.
Coach, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. It's summer. Teachers are always happy in the summer.
Almost, yeah. Well, you're done right now, I
It's
suppose.
it's
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
It's summer, man. I'm
And you're
yeah.
going by the time people hear this, are you back from vacation or are you going on
No,
vacation? What's your timing of
I'm
vacation?
fishing. I'm probably fishing at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably. The great thing about you've been to my lake house. The great thing is like
Yeah.
this weekend it was gonna like I didn't go up because it was gonna be cold and it was not cold as relative. It was like in the 50s, but it was a little rainy and cold. It's like I just didn't go up. I stayed home,
Yeah.
did some work. But if it would have been 80 and sunny, I would have jumped in the car and been there in like an hour and a half. So that's the nice thing. But yeah.
Your little cabin in the woods.
It's a little cabin. It's a house. It ain't a cabin. I do not refer to it as a cabin ever.
I'm joking.
I grew up going to a cabin. I know what
Yeah.
cabins are. For people that have watched on Golden Pond kind of thing, those are cabins. Rustic, yeah. This is not a cabin.
Yeah,
This is
it's
this is a
not a cabin.
house.
Beautiful place.
It's a beautiful house. Yes. All right. So, but before we jump into today's, I have a lot of stuff to say about today's topic. Before we do that, let's
Yeah.
remind them of practice plans and the discount that we're giving because we're over 250 episodes.
Yeah, we're over 250 episodes. If you missed the last one we were talking about, we celebrated our 250th episode recorded. Uh, so we are doing 25% off for the month of June of 2025. All our practice plans. So go to coachingyouthhoops.com and you'll see on the right on the homepage it says get started. Click that button, go through that process to create a season-long practice plan. Use podcast 250 as the promo code, and you'll get 25% off for the month of June only of 2025.
I know we're not super creative, but it's semi-creative, I guess.
Yeah,
That's an easy.
big milestone. So we want to share it
We
with all
do.
the people who got us here and keep us going. And
Wait till we get to 1,000 episodes, people. You won't believe what we'll be giving away. Oh, I'm
so
laughing.
it took us how many years to
It
do
was, it was, it
250?
was, it, yeah,
Did you
it
say
was
2023, right?
2022, right? It was
So
2022.
what does the math say in there, math
It
teacher?
says,
How many
it
is it going
says
to
I'm
take to
not big. I won't make it that long.
you won't make it to 1,000?
We'll see.
You
We'll see.
threw it out there. We got to at least make it to 1,000
Oh,
now.
well, we might. So today we're talking about communication between players,
Yeah,
which
and
is something really
helping,
big.
right. Yeah, and helping players. And again, we have to remember we're teachers, and things come up. Well, how about I just tell you a story that happened where this came from, and maybe that'll kind of help.
Yeah.
I have a player. She's amazing, a young lady, very aggressive, great on defense, loves basketball. She's the gym rat, and she loves to win, and she loves to play defense, if you can believe that. Um, and and she holds her teammates accountable, and so sometimes that can come off a little rough. And so we had a team meeting the other day to talk about how do you talk to your teammates? And I started off just saying, hey, we're all after the same thing. We want to get better. We want to see success on the court, right? So when your peers tell you to, hey, you should have gotten that rebound, or hey, you should be going, you should be diving on the floor like Coach Flitter tells us, that you can say, you and Steve and I can say the same thing and say it two different ways, and somebody might take that as you're attacking them versus a place from someone's heart that they care, right? So Teaching our young players how to communicate with one another is absolutely key. And you said you had a lot of stuff to add to that. So
Well,
curious what you teach your
so
kids.
I always say that you have to correct before you have to learn to correct before, not after. So an example is
Hmm.
big part of the game, you need the rebound. And let's say Devontae doesn't get the rebound and then you get mad. Well, that's not really Devontae's fault. It is Devontae's fault because maybe he didn't box out correctly. However,
Hmm.
you should have communicated to him before the actual box out on the free throw or whatever it was. So let's say you're lining up on free throws. You should go, hey, Devontae, this is a big one. Make sure you get low. And then you should tell Devontae what to like help him.
Hmm.
Like, hey,
Hmm. Hmm.
remember, this guy likes to spin, get low. Da, da, da. So part of communication is not correcting after a mistake, not yelling, you missed curfew, and I didn't tell you what time curfew was. It's
Right.
saying, hey, as they're walking
Hmm.
out the door, remember, Drew, who we talked to this afternoon, curfew's 10 p.m. Make sure you're back before 10, bud. Well, have fun. Da, da, da. Not he shows up at 10:30 and I go, why are you so late? Blah, blah, blah. I'm yelling at him. He didn't know what curfew was. It's those reminders. They're nice and they're taken so much better. As far as a leader,
Hmm.
you want to tell them those things beforehand. And that's a really hard thing for youth kids or any kid to do
Yeah.
is to do that before, because you know what's going to happen, or you know that hey they didn't box out well, or they that was a stupid foul. You don't go up and say, hey, that was a stupid foul, what are you doing? And say, hey, that's all right, next time, hey, remember that these officials
Yeah.
are really calling it really tight. Next time, make sure you're giving some. So give the correction, hope preferably before the mistake. But even if there is a mistake, it's how you approach the wording of it. It's like, oh, that's all right, blah, blah, blah. Because what happens is I have seen over time, the conflict happens when A gets mad with B because B didn't do something, and A knows that B can do it, but then says, it's the correction and the tone at which you approach the person matters. And
Yeah.
kids are not, that's not a skill or a muscle memory that they have. And I think it's
Right.
gotten worse over the last 10 years, with the phones and the electronics and them not communicating
Mm.
together as much.
Definitely.
So us having to teach them, like, so we actually sit in a classroom early in the year and we'll practice. I'll give them like little 3x5s. Again, I'm old school. Little 3x5s with things written on them, and then they have to. How are you going to handle this situation? And then coaches and I will walk around the room and kind of help them, so they kind of learn not only the person that's being corrected or whatever the conflict is happening. How do you do it? Because you have to teach them the way you want them to interact. It's not something that can happen easily or quickly at all in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think you
it's
nailed
that
it. It's
self
something that you have
correction.
to, yeah, you have to teach them. I did the same thing. We had note cards, and I partnered everyone up. They had to talk about because we talked about being coachable and coachable not just by me, but peer to peer. And what is it to be coached? Like, what does that mean? I just asked a simple question of, when does it feel good when coach is coaching you? Like, how what I say, what I do. And then when does it not feel so good? You know, and again, I'm talking to a 10U team here, right? So young, third and fourth graders. So they did a really good job of writing, just simple things down of, how can they be more coachable, which they were talking about listening. What is it? How do you feel when somebody, you know, or when somebody you think is not saying something correctly, right? And we talked about it
And
all,
that's
and
a
it was
good point. That's a good point, Bill.
um,
It's the I and then this is where you can help them. It's the reminder, the self-correction before the mistake, but sometimes it has to be after the mistake. And then what's
mhm.
the reaction? You know,
Yeah.
my brother and I both we're in a family that tends to be semi-defensive in things. It's a
Mm.
reaction. I don't know, but we all know it. And it's something we work on all the time. Um, that's a whole different podcast about why that is. Um, but it's like you gotta know that there's the reaction to it is important too, and you have to teach people how to
That's right.
react back.
Yeah.
again married to a psychologist, so I'm self-corrected often. Um, but
Well, never mind. We'll go there.
yes,
Uh, so,
it's
uh,
true.
well,
What else,
yeah.
coach?
Well, and I think just to what again, what's important is to have those conversations, let them figure things out, and then have a discussion about it because they know they're smarter than you give them credit for. It just needs to be highlighted, and you can even get into role playing. If I say it this way versus this way, or your peer said it this way, how does that make you feel, and how would you. But you're right, trying to be cut it off beforehand. But the beautiful thing about just addressing it in general is now when someone is not quite using the language they should talking to a peer, you can now reference and make an easy reference to the conversation. So how do you think that's going to make them feel, right? Based on what we talked about before, right? Easy conversation to have, right? And they'll realize, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have said it that way, right? Um, the last thing you want to do though is discourage the communication between peer to peer. I think that is one of the hardest things to even do. Most peers won't correct one another or don't talk. We always hear on the court, like, just call out the screens, right? So don't discourage someone who's like over the top. Just help them through the process of how to do it the right way, right?
Right.
Make it so,
Over-communication is key. A loud
yeah,
gym is a winning gym. There you go.
yeah, that's right.
Overleave.
Yeah.
A loud gym's a winning gym. All right. Anything else, coach? Give them a
Yeah,
reminder
coaches, go
about the,
check
yeah.
it. Yeah, go check out coachingyouthhoops.com for the month of June of 2025 to celebrate our 250th podcast. You're going to get 25% off for the month of June 2025. Go to coachingyouthhoops.com. Use the promo code podcast250 on your checkout, and it's only good for the practice plans right on the homepage where it says get started.
All right.
25% off.
All right. Next week, coach.
Till
Bye.
next week.